Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to our beautiful lecturer, Dr. Siti Nurhayati and fellow classmates. For this presentation, we are going to cover 5 issues in auditing, which includes money laundering, transnational audit, Sharia audit, Whistleblower Protection Act 2010, and last but not least, Industry Revolution 4.0 or 5.0 and its impact on auditing profession.
Money laundering is basically referred to a process in which a company or individual seeks to conceal the source of an illegally obtained money. This process is crucial since it allows the criminal to earn without jeopardizing their source of income. The illegal obtained money can be from illicit sources through illegal arms sales, smuggling, and organized crime activities such as drug trafficking, and prostitution rings, which can generate massive amounts of money. The concealment of the substantial profits from the underlying activities involved can be done by changing the form or moving the money to a place where they are less likely to attract attention. Money laundering involves 3 different stages, which includes placement, layering, and integration. There are offences to which an auditor is subjected to when it comes to the money laundering. As an auditor, we have to be very careful not to get involved with facilitating in the arrangement to acquire a criminal property. Besides, auditor must disclose to the appropriate authority if the auditor discovers knowledge or suspect of money laundering of a client's company during the course of an audit. Failure to do so would be considered as crime. The third offense that an auditor is exposed to during the course of work is tipping off. Auditors must avoid tipping off a client about their report on the suspicion of money laundering, which it can be likely to prejudice an investigation. 1MDB is the subject of money laundering investigation in at least 6 countries, including the United States and Malaysia, that affects the conduct of auditors. The U.S. Department of Justice has alleged that over $4.5 billion was stolen from 1MDB by top officials of the fund and their associates between 2009 and 2014. From 2011 through 2016, Deloitte was in charge of auditing both 1MDB and SRC International. Deloitte published a statement claiming the financial statements it audited for 1MDB in 2013 and 2014 can no longer be deemed reliable when the U.S. Department of Justice filed a civil forfeiture suit against the company in July 2016. According to the United States, which is investigating 1MDB for fraud and money laundering, people connected to former Prime Minister Najib Razak plundered $4.5 billion from the state fund. The billions were allegedly used to buy luxury properties, yachts, and paintings, and even finance the Hollywood movie. The ministry noted that the settlement with Deloitte marked the largest related to 1MDB by an audit firm in the Southeast Asia, which Deloitte will pay $80 million to the Malaysian government to settle all claims over the auditing of accounts belonging to this scandal. Referred to the contents elaborated above, we can see the offences auditors exposed to in the course of audit work when money laundering is issue involved. How auditors need to be due diligence in the audit process, especially when suspicion of money laundering arises from the real-world case of 1MDB case that has been subjected to money laundering investigation. It shows how the audit firm is in charge was badly affected with the significant amount of settlement that audit firm have to bear as a penalty towards the claims over the auditing accounts of 1MDB.
Now, we proceed to the next topic, which is transnational audit. This can be referred as an audit of financial statements that are or may be looked at by the outside audited entities' home jurisdictions for the goals of significant lending, investment, or regulatory decisions. Not only that, this transnational audit also can include the audits of all financial statements of the business with listed equity or debt and other public interest entities, as this may draw interest of particular public attention due to the size, products, or service provided. Here, we can see that there are 2 types of advisory groups of transnational audits, which is the forums of firms FOF, and Transnational Audit Committee TAC. The Forum of Firms is an independent association comprised of international networks of firms that undertake transnational audits. The forum's goal is to promote consistency and high-quality financial reporting and auditing practices all around the world by bringing together companies that do transnational audits and involving them more closely in IFAC's audit and assurance E-related activities. While for Transnational Auditors Committee TAC act as the formal bridge between IFAC and the Forum of Firms. It is in charge of implementing and developing the forum's goals and operations, as well as playing an important role in encouraging forum members to perform high-quality international audits by requiring the commitment to comply with certain international standards as a condition of memberships. Besides, TAC also contributes to the quality of its audit by identifying audit practice problems and provide recommendations to the appropriate standard setting boards, while also providing a forum to discuss best practices in areas like quality management, independence, and trainings. Moreover, TAC also facilitates communications among transnational enterprise, international regulators, financial institutions, and other stakeholders on audit quality, quality management systems, and international network transparency. TAC will find qualified applicants to be nominated and serve on international standard setting board. There are several concerns on the distinctions between this transnational audit and normal audit. The following factors have influenced the difference. Firstly, when auditing a group, it is possible that some subsidiaries operating in multiple countries will employ different standards, as country can either adopt modified versions of ISA or local auditing standards. The diversity in applying standards might lead to inconsistency and poor audit quality overall. These issues arise as parent company adheres to a specific standard, while their subsidiaries follow standards or law and regulations in their respective country. Hence, this will lead to inconsistent audit process within the group and potentially reduce the qualities of audit as a whole. Next, regulations and oversights of auditors. This issue may have an impact on audit quality due to the disparities in how each country's regulatory bodies supervise the auditing profession. The inconsistency of this regulation may cause degrading the quality of audit work done as subsidiaries may be subjected to various standards that are not followed in the parent's country or having higher levels of auditing standard. Issues on financial reporting standards. As it is not compulsory for every country to use the International Financial Reporting Standard IFRS, some will choose to follow local accounting standards. The component financial statements, which is the financial statements that is prepared by the subsidiaries company, will match these standards. However, consolidations will require adjustments to meet the parent's accounting policy. There could be a high risk of material misstatement as reconciliations and adjustment can be complicated. Hence, it requires the preparer and auditor to have a high level of technical skills. Lastly, corporate governance requirements is a framework for directing and controlling companies. The regulations are not only affecting the directors and companies, but the auditors as well. However, there may not be much corporate governance regulations in some countries, which result in the control risk can vary from one subsidiary to another. For example, in the United States, Sarbanes-Oxley Act stated that auditor responsibilities must provide an opinion on the internal control, but in United Kingdom standard, there is no mandatory requirement to do it.
The next issue is Sharia audit. It can be defined as the accumulation and evaluation of evidence to determine and report on the degree of correspondence between information and established criteria for Sharia compliance purpose. The auditor needs to ensure that the Islamic business institutions are Sharia compliant so that the reputation of these institutions is not damaged and the confidence of shareholders and also other stakeholders toward the institutions is maintained. So, how does Sharia audit affect the auditor? It affects the auditor where they have to be a competent person. The auditor needs to have the knowledge in Islamic principles, laws, and more. The auditor must continually be up to date on latest auditing and accounting ideas and processes. By having the latest knowledge in Sharia auditing, the auditor can make the best judgment in performing their duties. Besides that, the auditor has to be an independent person. In the perspective of internal Sharia auditor, they need to communicate their audit findings to the top management directly. Therefore, they must be independent of the activities they audit. As Sharia auditor, they must strive diligently to maintain a high level of independence in order to maintain the trust of internal and external users on the financial report. Sharia audit process is divided into three main phases in which includes planning, execution, and reporting. At the planning stage, Sharia auditor need to gain a thorough understanding with regard to the business activities of the organization. Sharia auditors must then identify the best technique, resources, and scope for developing the audit program. In order to achieve each audit objective, the audit program will outline the key activities to be conducted, the objectives of each activity, and the methodology to be employed. At the execution stage, Sharia auditor has to collect, evaluate, interpret, and document information relating to the Sharia audit objective. The information can be obtained from the examination of documents, observations, and more. To provide a solid foundation for Sharia audit findings and recommendations, the quality of information must be sufficient, relevant, credible, and valuable. The auditor's working papers should be complete, organized, and reviewed by the department head and kept. At the final stage, Sharia auditor has to report the results of audit findings to the board of directors, and copies of the report shall be made to the management and Sharia supervisory board. Before issuing the report, the head of Sharia auditor needs to discuss with the various levels of management on the conclusions and recommendations to the deficiencies. The report's quality should be objective, clear, constructive, and delivered on time to whom it may concern. There are a few factors that contribute to Sharia audit effectiveness. The first one is the management support. With the management support in assigning adequate resources and skilled staff to the internal Sharia audit department, Sharia audit activities can be carried out efficiently and effectively. A significant portion of the Islamic bank's budget should be set aside for training and development, as Sharia auditors need to be knowledgeable in Sharia-related knowledge such as fiqh mu'amalat. Next, in conducting Sharia audit, Sharia auditors should not rely solely on the international standards on auditing. This is because the standards only cover conventional financial audit and do not take into account the Sharia aspects in their audit performance. Sharia auditors need to have a wider scope of Sharia audit as compared to conventional audit covering social behavior and the company's performance, including the relationship of the company with all the stakeholders.
The next issue is Whistleblower Protection Act 2010. The Whistleblower Protection Act 2010 protects those who make a disclosure of improper conduct to an enforcement agency by protecting their confidential information and protecting them against detrimental action being taken against them. A whistleblower is a person who comes forward and reports any wrongdoing that he or she feels is occurring throughout the organization or in a specific department. Whistleblowing is an act of reporting misconduct within an organization to internal or external parties voluntarily. Internal whistleblowing involves informing senior officers of an organization about misconduct, fraud, or indisciplines, such as top management, the board of directors, and shareholders, while external whistleblowing refers to when employees report wrongdoing to individuals outside of the company, such as the public, media, law enforcement, or other local
state, or federal agency. A whistleblower could be an employee, contractor, supplier, and also an auditor who become aware of any illegal activities. There are laws in place to prevent whistleblowers from losing their jobs or being mistreated, which is the Whistleblowers Protection Act of 2010. Under Section 7 of Whistleblower Protection Act 2010, it stated that when any enforcement agency receives a disclosure of improper conduct, the whistleblower is granted whistleblower protection under this act, such as protection of confidential information, immunity from civil and criminal action, and protection against detrimental action. The protection shall be extended to any person related to or associated with the whistleblower. If the disclosure of improper conduct does not result in any disciplinary action or prosecution of the person against whom the disclosure of improper conduct was made, the whistleblower protection conferred under this section is not limited or affected. The audit profession is clearly different from others in that it has privileged access to client information and relationship with management or directors, which can lead to a number of conflicts of interest, including client and public loyalty, as well as ethical, legal, and professional restrictions on disclosing wrongdoing. The auditor must protect client confidentiality and loyalty, but they are also required to report sensitive facts that could affect the client and make the auditor appear disloyal. However, there are certain issues regarding whistleblowing where it is a complicated process that incorporates both personal and organizational factors. The auditor may receive penalties or threats such as termination of job and relationship or affiliation with other employees. This will discourage the whistleblowing intention due to personal relationship, fear of retaliation, and fear of media coverage. Apart from that, there is another issues in which professional commitment and auditors' whistleblowing intention have a favorable link. According to the finding, auditors who have a higher level of professional dedication are more likely to blow the whistle than those who have a lower level of dedication. This is an issue because all auditors are supposed to report any wrongdoing or misconduct truly and faithfully and act on behalf of the shareholders. Auditors with lower professional commitment are less likely to blow the whistle due to a lack of knowledge about whistleblowing channel and a belief that the wrongdoing is minor. This shows that the auditor's self-identity influences the ethical assessment rather than organization relationship, which could lead to wrong decision. In conclusion, auditors able to act as whistleblower by reporting about any corporate wrongdoings as they has privileged access to organization information. However, this will do significant harms to the client's organization and it may tarnish the audit firm reputation in gaining the trust of their clients. As a result, auditor will be torn between acting on behalf of the company and serving the public interest in this situation. Furthermore, auditor provides services to their client while also having an obligation to carry out their responsibility in accordance with existing accounting norms and regulations. Hence, the failure for auditor to blow the whistles will raise serious concern and has implication for the accounting profession, because auditors as potential whistleblowers are obligated to report any misconduct in the public interest because there are Whistleblower Protection Act 2010 that able to protect them from any harms. An industrial revolution has two components. The first is the development of new technology and the second is a shift in production due to the technology. Multiple new technologies are discovered as the revolution becomes more intricate and the process accelerates. Robotics, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and virtual reality are all products of the fourth industrial revolution. The fifth industrial revolution, on the other hand, can be viewed as the coexistence of humans and machines in the workplace. As technology develops, more automation and better data analytics tools become available. The use of data analytics in auditing has become more popular to execute audits and to deliver additional value to the client. With the availability of relevant data and the correct tools, data analytics may provide improved visibility of trends and identify exceptions in a more effective manner. However, auditors will still need to interpret and analyze the data, regardless of how advanced the tools get. This is where they must use professional skepticism to its fullest capacity. When using technology for data analytics, auditors might have questions in mind on whether the data is correct and clean sufficiently, whether the information turned out sensible, and whether the outlier needs further investigation. Operation-wise, many audit firms are already using technology to assist in their work. When employing technology, auditors are also exposed to cyber risks, which might be a concern for them. The impact of cyber risks on audit firms not only on hardware and software, but as well as the information they store. Data is a valuable commodity, and audit firms frequently have access to highly confidential and non-publicly available information. Phishing attacks for malicious purposes, such as gaining system access, are becoming more common. Several high-profile data breach incidents have been revealed in recent years, which demonstrate that these attacks are carried out by skilled criminals and lead to a major problem for audit firms. As cyber attacks such as phishing get more sophisticated, auditors must be more attentive and alert to avoid falling victim and become the key player that expose the firm's cybersecurity. Artificial intelligence will not eliminate auditors. Rather, it will be a chance to improve audit execution while freeing up more time to analyze data and provide clients with quality, value-added feedback and recommendations. Auditors must change and embrace an innovative mentality in order to remain competitive. They must be aware of technology shift and invest in and commit to lifelong learning in order to develop their digital intelligence and solutions. As a whole, Industrial Revolution 4.0 and 5.0 allow auditors to take use of the digital era where it makes their job as auditors easier. However, there must be issues that arise while adopting technology in which auditors must be aware of the risks they face. Due to rapid technological change, the auditor cannot overlook its impact. Instead, they must plan for the future and constantly reskill and upskill in order to remain relevant. Hence, the pace of learning is accelerating and skills are becoming obsolete at a faster rate than before. Employees at audit firms must implement continual learning on their own initiative through various platforms offered, rather than relying on training provided to them, because an employee's progression is a reflection of one learning curve. In the nutshell, based on what have been discussed, we can clearly see on how these issues are directly or indirectly affect the auditor profession. That's all from us. Thank you.